Yo, what's going on, guys? Aversa here. Today we're doing a Jurrac Ryu-Ge combo guide. I'm going to show you how the one card combo is supposed to work and how it's meant to be played out on your opponent's turn. Then I'll show you an important line to know with the Jurrac stuff when you're going second as well. So if you haven't watched the deck profile for Jurrac Ryu-Ge already, definitely check that out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely do that now. Drop a like, comment, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. It all helps me out. And if you're interested in this dinosaur playmat or these sleeves, check out finalsaga.de. And if you decide to buy anything, use my code Reversal5 for 5% off your order. Anything by using the code helps support the channel directly, so definitely check them out. I'll leave a link in the description as well. So let's get right into the combo. Let's do the one Mistfa. This is kind of like the bread and butter of the deck. This gets you to everything. And then if you only open the Stego, you're going to do the same Stego combo that I show you in the Mistfa combo. So just keep that in mind. It's literally the same thing if you only open the Stego. So I'm not going to like bother showing each off individually because it is the same combo either way. But start off with the Mistfa. You put in the pendulum scale, then use this effect to pop itself, and then add the war zone. Then this goes face up to the extra deck, which is important for the second effect of this. So we're going to activate the war zone, take a dinosaur, sea serpent, and worm. And one's going to get banished, one's going to go to the grave, and one's going to go to your hand. So we're going to get the Stego. If you already have the Stego, you can add Misc here just to make sure that all your dino stuff is protected. Like even if your opponent has an Imperm plus Nibiru, for example, you'd be able to beat that with your dino stuff. So it's good to know. If you already have the Stego, you can always get Misc. So you're going to use the second effect of Warzone to summon now. It's going to summon one from Banished, one from Grave, and one from Deck. And the Anvil on Summon pops a card, so you're going to actually use it to pop itself. It's going to go to the face-up extra deck, and then we're going to place the Wormwinds. We're just using this to get the card that we actually want for our end board, because the Hakfa can put this one to the bottom of the deck and search you a Ryu-Ge card. So we're going to do that and add the normal trap, which is Rivalry. This one just summons a Ryu-Ge from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So we're going to use this to summon another Anvil on the opponent's turn to pop something and then kind of get everything rolling from that way. Because the Mistfa and the face-up extra deck triggers when a card's destroyed, so it's just another way you can help kind of get that all going on your opponent's turn. So from here you can just make Virudras so the rest of your plays are protected. And that was only 4 summons, so you aren't in the Nibiru range yet. So anyway, you use normal summon your Stego. Then you're going to use this effect to destroy itself. There's some scenarios where you can only have like Stego and some random thing that you can destroy that you can get some value off, like an Anva, for example. If you only have like Stego Anva, you can actually just put this in the scale and pop it instead. Because the Stego just has to destroy a card you control. It doesn't have to be itself, doesn't even have to be a monster. So that's something that's good to know. But in this combo, we're going to be destroying itself, dumping Misc. Then we're going to summon 4 level 1s from deck. So it's going to be 2 of each. And then you're going to use the Aeolo, Tribute, resummon Stego. Then do Stego Megalo. 2 Felfito, it's just level 5. You use Aeolo again. Get Stego back, and then you have 5-4 and then 1 tuner, so that's a 10. We're going to summon Astero. And Astero on summon sets a Jurrac spell trap, so we're going to set the Volcano and activate that. So the Volcano is going to allow you to destroy a dinosaur monster you control, and then special Jurrac from your deck. So we're going to use that to destroy the Astero, just to get that. We're going to end up getting that back though, so if I can find the other Megalo, there he is. Okay, so you can use your Misc for 4. You just want to make sure you keep like 1 of everything in here of the other stuff, just because you can use that later on. Do an Ovi, and then your Ovi is going to add you a Conductor. You're going to use this for follow-up. And then if you're going second, just being able to access Conductor through the Stego is really nice as well. So from here you can use the Obi to pop the Megalo to resummon the Astero. And the Megalo and Grave's going to trigger to dump another Astero, so you have this nuke set up already. And then when this other Estero on the field ends up in the grave, it's another nuke. And then after your meteor, you can summon back a tuner. So you can summon back a Megalo with that. And then when you go to like do a second nuke, this is gonna end up getting popped. And then you can dump the third Estero. So that's definitely good to know. But you're gonna set your rivalry, and this is gonna be like your typical end board. And then on your opponent's turn, it kind of depends how things play out, depending on how fast you use the summon negate and how fast you use the Ryu-Ge negate. But you're typically going to use the rivalry to summon another Anva from deck and pop a card that they control just to get extra value off it. And then when a card's destroyed, that's going to trigger your Mistfa. So let's slide these down a little bit. So this is going to summon. Keep in mind that it has to go to an extra monster zone, because that's just how pendulums in the face-up extra deck work. And it's going to tribute the Anva. And this is going to go to the face-up extra deck as well. And then when this one's summoned, you can pop up the 2 cards on your field, and then you place that many Ryu-Ge continuous spells from your deck face up. So let's assume you used the summon negate already. And then you could also say that you use the Ryu-Ge negate potentially, because this one gets value when it's popped as well. But typically you're going to want to try to save this if you can. And then for this, we can just say we use the summon negate already. We'll do these 2. You could also do the volcano, but that's like an interruption as well technically, even though to be honest it doesn't really come up much. But since we popped 2, I'm going to be able to place 2 of these from our deck. The Dino Domains is in the side deck for me, so game 1 would be these 2. But I think for the most part, the Dino Domains ends up being better than the Wormwinds. I think it's just a negate instead of this one's a Macrocosmos basically on your opponent's turn just for monsters on the field. So it can be nice versus some decks, but this one's a little just more generic, I guess. But the Sea Spires is one that you're always going to do, because this one's important for making sure that you have follow-up if, say, you just didn't have any already. But because this is all done off 1 card, so you might already have some follow-up in addition to the UCT. But you're just going to get one of these plus the Sea Spires. And then from there, you have the Ryu-Ge still. And then before you nuke the field, if you don't have follow-up already, you can use the Sea Spires to bounce the Mistfa back to your hand, just so when you end up nuking everything, like this, these are all getting nuked, you'll summon a meteor, and then everything's gonna be by. You're gonna bring back Megalo, and then now you have these 2 in your hand, and you still have 1 Anva in deck, you still have 1 of the other 2 in deck, and then you could just redo the Warzone thing. It's gonna summon 3 big bodies, and you have a conductor, and then you're kind of chilling from there. So that's assuming you use 1 of these nukes. Then next time you use another nuke, because you have 2 in here, boom, summon another meteor. And then this is going to get destroyed, and then it's going to dump you the other Estero. So just off that 1 card, you had 3 nukes, a bounce that you used on your own card, but if you already have like another one of these or whatever, you can bounce something on their card. So there's 4 disruptions. This or the Wormwinds, it's 5 disruptions. Ryu-Ge is a negate, a destroy, and then potentially another destroy, so that's potentially 8 disruptions there. So it's a lot off just 1 card. And then something else to note, if you open the Anva with the Mistfa, this can potentially give you access to the continuous spell. I haven't really found the best way to go about doing this without having to change that main combo slightly. So if you see any way to kind of do everything that I just showed you while also getting this in rotation, definitely let me know. But if you do it the way I just showed you, and then just keep this in scale, the problem you'll have is all three of these will end up face up in the extra deck, and you won't be able to resolve your war zone on turn 3. So that's like the main thing. Potentially you can just, if you do open both of these, you can pop this one in the scale and then make a Ryu-Ge with the Anva and something else that's up here, so at least the one that's Xyz material will go to the graveyard, and then you just leave the other Ryu-Ge monster on field. So when your Misva can come back, then you'll have that to tribute, but you'll have to get this out of your extra monster zone first, which is the main issue with that. So you'd have to do something like use the rivalry, summon Anva, pop your Ryu-Ge, and then you'd get a pop with this, and then your extra monster will be open at least, but you're losing a couple different things from that, so it's not ideal. But yeah, that's like the one thing, getting the continuous trap, that's kind of a little weird for me. But definitely if you see a good way to get that, let me know. But now I'll show you the Stego combo going second. That's important to know. And this is if you just have like Stego and Misk pretty much, just because Misk is going to make it so like this actually resolves. So just kind of run through it real quick and use the Misk so you're protected. Stego, destroy itself, dump a 4, and then summon these 4 guys out. Just going to dump another Stego. And then you're going to cycle Aeolo, Stego, Velfito, Aeolo again to Stego. Then you go into a 10. So what you're going to do here is go straight into a Meteor. And since you had Misk, it's going to be very hard to interact with this line. And you're just going to be able to blow up their field. And then when you blow up their field, this is going to summon back a tuner. So we're going to summon back the Megalo. And then now we can use the Misk for 4. To summon our Oviraptor. And then Ovi's going to add you the Conductor. So what you're going to do here is activate the Ovi to pop the Megalo. I'm going to resummon an Aeolo. And then the Megalo is going to trigger to dump in a Stero. This is just to give you another nuke for their turn. And then you're going to use the Aeolo to get Stego back. And then you're going to summon your UCT, finishing 2. So what you have on field here is 7,000 points of damage, which isn't enough to end the game. But how you get that last 1,000 points is going to be in main phase 2. You're going to overlay these 2 for the Granosaurus Giga Cannon. So this is something that was found in the Dinosaur Discord. Brought up a way that we can get 8k if we open the volcano, and then we were trying to find a way that we could still end the game with just Stego, because opening the 1 volcano, or if maybe you play 2, is not something that you're always going to have. So it's nice that, you know, the Dino Discord kind of just bounce ideas off each other, and then this was the result of that this time. So this is a card that we talked about a few times just because of the Dino lock with Stego, but the use cases for it weren't like super important. But this is definitely very good to know, because when this card gets destroyed, you can target a card in the field, destroy it, and if you do, you inflict 1,000 points of damage. So whether you use Conductor to pop this, or if you use a Stero to nuke, that's all you need. Just when this gets destroyed, you're gonna pop something and deal the last 1,000 points of damage, and then that's 8k, and you won the game with just a Stego. So it's definitely important to know, because there are a lot of times where you just have a Stego line and you had access to Misk, so you can actually make it go through. So that's just the way that you can get 8k. Otherwise, you're just gonna climb into a Stero and then do the same thing and just UCT clear a board, and then hope your Estero, summon negate, and then UCT, flip, and then you're gonna have like a nuke or two. And that's could potentially be enough to get you a win, but your follow-up would be kind of rough at that point a lot of the time. So I think just the OTK line's important to know, because it's definitely going to come up at some point. But yeah, that's going to be it for this combo video. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. I probably forgot something, but that's like the main one-card combos that you need to know, and then an important things to know when it comes to utilizing the Jurrac cards going second. So that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching. Take care. Peace.